Oh, welcome everybody to the Ground Up Podcast. We're happy that you're here. We're happy that you pressed play. And we're here today. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. This is Terry Barga, and I'm here with Roy Mangrum.
Yes, I'm here.
And after all,
Can I say that we're recording two back to back so people don't think I'm wearing the same shirt twice?
you can say that.
I just did.
And that's. I guess I don't need my permission. Yeah, and also that's why my second intro was not as good as the first one.
And I'm out of water.
Yeah. Water.
Okay.
No, okay, we got nothing. All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit today about the Music City Fit Expo, which is how many weeks out right now?
I don't know.
It's close.
No, let's see. May, April, March.
Yeah, it's 3 months out. 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Not very much. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's.
We better get busy.
There's something about it that always just feels like it's sneaking up on us.
It's a lot to do.
We've talked a lot about the expo on just doing our little commercial briefs for the podcast. But what is one of the what's one of the bigger challenges this year you think we're facing with this expo?
2 days. That's more to plan.
Yeah.
Like, your booth stuff is the same, but it's twice the events. So there is going to be problems
Always.
with people switching out their stuff. I already know there's a huge one on the horizon that I can't do anything about yet. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And double the expenses navigating that.
That part's not awesome.
No, but
It's a little more weight.
yeah, it is what it is. But if you can, again, deliver, last year we had 4,003 attendees.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what we're going to have this year just because of the sheer number with the events. Like I talked to the CrossFit comp yesterday. They're almost sold out at 150 athletes.
Oh, my goodness.
The kickboxing tournament already has 100 athletes. The powerlifting already has 100 athletes.
That's amazing.
It's just like boom, boom. You're going to have 500-600 athletes.
That's awesome. And all of them will bring at least one person usually.
Yeah. Just that.
Yeah.
We've already been selling tickets like every single day. It's going to be massive. And, it's just one of those hang on day of and try to get through it.
I know that you're listening to this and you're like, well, Terry, how come you don't know these things? Well, it's because you're the kind of the proprietor of the expo, and I support you, and then I do the magazine, and you support me in that, and we team up on various things. Like there's projects you give me, and there's projects that I give you. That's kind of how we've worked.
I feel like I give you way more than you have to give me.
That's the dynamic. And there hasn't been. I would say that there hasn't been a giant need on it for NFM until recently, because that's just because of the growth. And I'm batting outside of my comfort zone, and I'm like, Roy, help me. No, I think that I reflect on that. I look back at last year and I was like, man, last year was so great, and it was fun. It was rewarding on every level. We had our share of problems, and if you don't know what those are, go watch the documentary from last year. We talk about them a little bit.
The water fire.
The water fire. There's the plot or the good and the bad to growth. The good is man, we had a really great year last year. We can do the exact same thing, and we know exactly what we're going to get, right? But we're not growing. So in order to grow, we would literally have doubled down. We'd go from 1 day to 2 days, and that doubles. I guess it doesn't entirely double the risk because we do know, we know half that story already. But you can't grow until you rip that Band-Aid off and decide to, what's the next thing we can do? How can we get it bigger?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we want to get to the Music City Center at some point.
Yeah.
Just, do we need to? Do we have to? Probably not. it's a personal
goal.
It's a personal goal. I think if you're going to have a massive presence, you don't get a bigger building than that.
True.
So getting to that point is very expensive as well. But we also have to know that that juice is worth the squeeze, meaning, to me, 4,000 attendees, which is for the place we're at, great crowd,
Sure.
awesome crowd. Going there, no.
It'd feel like a ghost town.
It would, yeah. So we know that's not it yet.
Right.
We really need to get to that 15 mark.
Mm-hmm.
We get to 15,000 attendees, then that conversation's
Right.
it's more time to have that conversation. So
Yeah, and I think, you say that it's a personal goal, but I think that personal goal has also really good benefits for the city in the sense of what city impact. It's huge.
yeah, huge, yeah.
That's
if you just look at economic impact of when you got brands coming in to service the city,
right.
people, just the revenue brought in just from renting the building to start, hotels, people coming in. And when we say from out of town, I mean, we're saying Chattanooga or Murfreesboro. If it's a 2-day event, a lot of people are going to stay downtown just because
Just convenient.
it's convenient, and you're making a weekend of it. It's like a staycation, right?
Right.
Yeah, I can drive back to Murfreesboro for 30 minutes, or we can have a great time here. We can get us a room. We can go have a nice meal, maybe go out to a bar or whatever, listen to live music. The next morning we coming over, back over there. Especially people competing. People competing do not want any inconvenience.
Right.
They want to be as convenient as possible, so they're going to stay downtown. When you bring in, 500, 1,000 athletes, that's an economic impact.
Sure.
We're not. What's the music thing they do downtown?
CMA Fest.
Yeah. We're not CMA Fest, but I mean, hey,
Yeah.
we're bringing dollars to the city.
That's right. Well, and I think outside of the economic impact, we're going to do something we're doing something for the city that CMA or any other event really can't hold a candle to, and that's kind of changing.
Make Nashville a fitter place to live.
That's exactly right. And we're bringing that stuff. We're making it more accessible. We're putting it on display, right, for everybody to contribute with. And I think that means something too. So if the mayor's listening, holler at us about that grant for Music City Center.
We're working on him.
I feel like I've been working on that for easily a year.
Because you have been.
Yeah.
It
It gets hot and then it gets cold. It gets hot and then it gets cold. So yeah, that challenge, the 2 days, the schedule, our feet, we're going to have to really ice our feet, our ankles.
Yeah, I thought about that the other day. I was like, oh boy.
We're going to post up somewhere. That feels like a feat too. And I think this year we're doing even a bigger stage for fitness, a community fitness outside. I'm excited about that. And it's, we get excited about certain things because this is our vision. We really hope that it's received well, like that actually goes, some of those things go off well. And it sounds like the competitions will, doing this community fitness idea. I'm hoping it lands, with excitement too. So
I think it will. I think the only, and I guess as you're watching this, we're ferreting out ideas and figuring out things, but like getting or communicating that stage is there,
right?
Which I may have an answer to that, and then so communicating the stage is there, and then communicating that at 9:00 this is going on,
right?
At 10:00 this is going. Like I haven't got that put together yet, but you had talked with Navy,
right?
So I think that that VR trailer thing, we're going to put there, like right by it. So that's going to be a draw, which will pull people over when they see it. So
that's exciting.
We'll see. We haven't crossed those T's and dotted the I's yet, but we're close.
We're working on it. There is I think there's still quite a few fun surprises that we can't really say yet. you've added more celebrities though. Some of that stuff's really new.
How many numbers we got? What's the number?
How many numbers are what?
So 7 celebrities right now.
Yeah,
Is that right? That's huge.
that's crazy.
That's a lot of people.
And that's the ones we're bringing.
Yeah, that's just the ones we're bringing.
Because I know Jim Reapers is bringing a celebrity too.
Yep.
Um,
Which we've not announced Jim Reapers, but you just did. That's okay.
oopsie, sorry, better pay your bill. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, yeah. That's what we know. Like, we won't, I don't even know if we're going to know that stuff. Like we don't. Some people will bring celebrities.
Well,
we won't
like,
even know.
like last year, it was the week of.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just forgot his name. But the guy that owns Blackout Barbell was like, "Hey, I'm friends with Eric Anders, UFC fighter. Can I bring him and put him in my booth?" Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Please do that.
Yeah, it's attraction, dude. It brings people over to your booth. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little notice next time when we can actually market that guy.
That's what I said. I said, man, I've been happy to push it for you, but okay.
It's the week of.
Yeah. So there's always that kind of stuff. You know, there's there's a couple things in the works. The gym you're talking to,
Right.
possibly bringing somebody in with them, and like you said, Gym Reapers, and then it's going to be some fun surprises.
Yeah, and you were talking a little bit about putting out fires and knowing that we're going to have issues here or there. I really appreciate the fact that you've told me this from the get-go. It's not a matter of if you have problems, it's when, and then what is the solution?
Yeah.
Are you stockpiling solutions for what would be problems? And I guess it wasn't until just now that I realized that you're already thinking about that 4 months in advance.
Yeah,
that's
weird.
crazy.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, literally, I know there's a tear down factor.
Yeah.
Because this person has to tear down and get out for the next person to set up for the next the next competition for the next morning. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll put them here so it's easy egress to the parking lot. I'm like, those are the things. And I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take them to tear down? How long is it going to take the other one to set up?
Right.
How late do I have to stay that night?
Right.
I don't know the answers to
I feel like we're this close to having an RV in the parking lot.
Yeah, I told my wife already. I was like, yeah, probably going to book a room downtown.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that part about you. It levels, it can kind of level out some of your anxiety. And I mean, obviously, you're going to have some just because there's just so much unknown, and it's hard to be settled when there's so much unknown. But
you can't anticipate water in the plugs.
No.
Or sprinklers hitting the food vendors.
No.
We didn't see that coming. So those are things you fix on the fly. But like all the other little stuff, you're like, there's a possibility this can happen. How do we mitigate it, right?
Yeah.
So those are I don't know why my brain thinks that way. I guess I just don't like problems, so I just try to solve them before.
Yeah, I mean, that's the confrontation, like, mentality is like, if you're going to have to confront somebody, what are the angles? What are the solutions ahead of time? It's the same thing with a product or a problem. It's like you have to confront the problem head on. You need tools in the toolbox.
Sure.
That's
That's
all. I often am glass half full guy, and I'm overly optimistic, and I don't want to think about. It's not a matter of that. I don't think that they exist. The problems, I just don't want to stop and think about them.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
And I'll wait until the week or the month before.
The only reason
before I'm really there.
The only reason I don't do it that way is because
it doesn't benefit you, first of all.
Well, I mean, it's good for your anxiety. Like if you're super optimistic, it's just going to be amazing. But that's like that overpromise, underdeliver factor.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to live up to that. So I like to do the opposite, underpromise and overdeliver.
Sure.
And then if there's too many problems that popped up that I haven't thought about, then it's very overwhelming, and it's real easy to not have the right solution.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to put out too many fires at once. And even like we thought so many things ahead, those 2 things popped up that we no way you could.
We had no way of knowing.
There's no way you could have thought of those things, which we will now.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have thought of them then, and those were difficult fixes. It wasn't like a 2-second fix of, oh, here's some gaffer's tape.
I'm pretty sure that we didn't fix the one thing. Like there were so many outlets that just weren't working.
Oh, I thought they got fixed.
No, we just rerouted.
Nobody told me.
Yeah,
So that's good.
We just rerouted it. No, I mean you didn't.
Well, then it worked.
Yeah, there's no reason
right?
to stress you out.
They had power.
Right. They got what they needed.
There you go.
At the end of the day.
That's all that matters.
I had people running cords for days. And thankfully, people listened when you told them to bring cords.
But when you tell them we're going to charge them for a cord for rental,
That'll do it.
that'll do it.
Do it every time.
Yeah.
How much?
That plan worked. Like, well, you're probably going to leave with it. So
And I love the people at Nashville Fairgrounds. I think we've got a really good, the maintenance crew is really cool. We can rely on them. I don't have anything negative to say except for I don't understand why we didn't know about the water in the outlets leading up to it.
I don't think they knew.
Really?
I don't think they knew. And I think here, so they have a Zamboni that washes the concrete.
Yeah.
And I think they washed it the day before. I don't remember who was in there right before us, but wasn't it like a home and garden thing?
Maybe.
So it was dirt and sand everywhere. So they were trying to clean it up. So they used the Zamboni thing and just water got in the outlets. And typically it probably dries out in time before the next event.
Yeah.
But since there was a quick turnaround, I think maybe that was what happened. But they were right there to help us.
Oh, yeah.
Let's find the solution. Let's get it fixed. And
Yeah.
shout out to Danny at the Danny and Trina at the fairgrounds.
I wore old Danny out. Like, well, try this one. He's like, nope, that's not working. Don't try this one. Yeah, I don't know about that one either. It's like, we'll figure this out, man.
It worked out. It worked out.
It's good. Oh, man. What other surprises you want to go down your celebrity list? Just in case this is the first podcast anybody's ever heard.
Yeah.
Of us talking about it.
So Jay Cutler, Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
Right? Jay Cutler we announced yesterday. Brian Shaw, I guess I just announced, which he was there last year.
Yeah. Well, this won't release for another 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he drew a massive crowd. Julius Maddox, which is, I think he is officially the heaviest heaviest raw bench presser on the planet.
Wow.
It's like 800-pound bench press.
What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Raw. It means no gear, no suits and whatnot. It's pretty crazy.
That's nuts.
So he's going to be there, which actually he was there 2 years ago, just kind of walking around. That's when I met him.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, I need to have this guy back. David Ziegler, which is phenomenal to work with last year.
Yeah, he's fun.
So like, yeah, dude, every year we have this, you just put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Let's see. Olivia Reeves,
Right.
Olympic gold medalist in weightlifting, 70 kilos, I believe, is what she weighed and competed in. She will be there. Technically, she signed this morning.
Is she bringing her gold medal?
Yes.
Nice.
That was part of the...
I've always wanted to see one.
It's in the agreement.
That's awesome.
She has to have the gold medal. So she'll be there. Brandon Curry, Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, let's
So
go.
2 Mr. Olympias at the show, which is nuts. And then Von Walker, huge social media following, young LA athlete. He will be there as well. He's a phenomenal athlete. Yeah, it's huge. And that's just, like I said, that's just the ones that
we're bringing.
That's
the ones
yeah.
we've invited out. That's awesome. Yeah, I hadn't met Ziegler until last year, and you two were whipping around on the golf cart, and he was like, "Let's get some footage, Roy."
Oh God, yeah, I saw the video finally. It's ridiculous.
I think the thing was on 3 wheels at one point. Just skirt. No.
And then seeing me and Brian Shaw in a golf cart was hilarious. The biggest human I've ever seen in
he
my
can't
life.
get in that thing. He's gonna.
He crammed his ass in there. Now half my ass was hanging off, but that's a big human.
Oh my gosh, that is
Shaking
awesome.
his hands like grabbing a lunchbox.
He is no joke, a giant.
That's a giant man.
I did not know what to expect.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, definitely a sweetheart. Let's talk to those gym owners out there or businesses out there that haven't got their booth yet, and that will no doubt tell us, or out of fear, maybe they think this, that authentically think this, that there's no ROI on coming to the expo. For them, it's a hard thing for them to figure out how to get to pay that forward, and and they worry about people coming to the booth, this, that, or the other. Let's talk to them for a moment, because there's some things there that we know when it comes down to traffic and awareness that they might need to hear. So
Well, let's start with the awareness part.
yeah, let's start there.
So take said business, okay? They have a brick and mortar, right? Because you have to have a place to do your stuff.
Right.
And they put a sign on the front of the building. Why do they put a sign on the front of the building if they don't need awareness?
That's a good point.
Those signs are like $6,000.
Right.
Now you have to light the sign.
True.
Okay? I mean, I'm not, and I know that sounds ridiculous that I'm bringing this point up, but why would you do that if you don't need awareness?
Right.
Why would you post ads on social media if you don't need awareness? All those things are great.
Yep.
They're all needed to do. They're all pieces that you have to do for your business. If you're putting a sign up on your building, everybody that drives by it is not a potential customer. Just, they're not.
It's true.
When you post something out on Facebook and boost the post or whatever for a couple $100, not everybody that sees that is a potential customer.
Yep.
It's just not. It's like trying to be a sniper with a shotgun. You're trying to hit a very
You're just
specific
spraying, yeah.
target, and you're just spraying and praying.
Yep.
But with the expo, it's a hyper targeted audience. Everybody there is into fitness, health, wellness, and if that is your business, which it would be, or we would not
True.
take you as a exhibitor, there is no greater return on brand awareness.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right.
I mean, for $750, you don't think being in front of 4,000 people is hello.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't engage with the people, you won't get shit out of it.
It's true.
Let's be honest.
It's true.
But that's, again, you have to put in that effort of, as people walk by saying, hey, how's it going? Engage with that public. But there's 4,000, I'm going off last year's number. This year will be bigger.
Yeah.
But there's 4,000 people walking around that are into health and wellness and fitness, and that is your brand niche. Yeah, that's your customers. Every single one, every single person that walks by your booth is a potential customer.
So awareness is key. There is no other place in Nashville that, I would even argue in the tri-state region where you can be in front of that many
True.
people.
That's exactly true.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't be in front of that many people that is that niche down
Nope.
to your brand, period. So that's great awareness. And no one can really guarantee that many eyes on your brand in that short amount of time either.
No.
Unless you're spending way more money than that, via social media ad of some sort.
Yeah, if you posted an ad and they said, I guarantee you 4,000 views,
Right.
4,000 clicks, which essentially that's what it is, 4,000 people going to your website in 24 hours. Well, we're saying there's 4,000 people walking by your booth. Same thing. That is your website for the day. Interact with those people. It's your job to close them.
Sure.
Or get the lead or whatever the case may be. But there is no better way to get in front of that many eyes.
Yeah.
The flip side of that, at this event, you can sell your stuff.
Right.
Sell your wares.
Yeah, I think first of all, those are straight facts. Like, we're not pulling that out of anywhere. Like, that's not us projecting this or projecting that. Like, it literally is.
That is what happened last year.
Literally what happens.
Yeah.
It's like this many people per capita. You can't get it anywhere else in the tri-state region. It's literally the biggest expo in the South. So those are just facts. We're not pumping any extra juice on that. So take it or leave it on that level. The other side, the other pain point I think you hear a lot of is, well, I just don't do expos. And I know that comes from being at an expo, and like, most likely you're talking to a business owner who sent out a couple staffers, and they didn't give them any pointers on how to engage, or maybe they just assumed that they would engage, or maybe they just assumed people would come to the table. Let's talk about that, because there is so much you can do to build that engagement before we even get to sales. and I'm not even talking about that yet. Like, how do we get people to their booth? Like, how can we give people tips for that? Because we talked about this when we first started the expo. Because there are ways that you've helped. I mean, you've helped several businesses last year. Here's how you're going to want to present, right? As a way to, garner a bunch of attention.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a hot second.
Well, the first thing, and this is just a visual that popped up when you said, not having, you've got the booth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's nobody manning the booth, or the people manning the booth aren't engaging.
Right.
So that's just like having a website, right? As a clothing brand, and there's no click to check out.
Right. Or you have to hunt for it.
Yeah. Or it's just not there.
Yeah.
Like literally, or it's a hidden page, like you're saying. There was, it's real easy to walk through that thing. And we did it last year. And this booth has got 2 or 3 people in front of it, 2 or 3 people deep talking to whatever. I know we walked by, I don't know if you walked by our booth. I walked by it 2 times. Those poor guys were just getting their asses kicked.
Yep.
And then you go by this other booth, and there's nobody even in the booth.
Right.
Like, gosh, you're not going to... They can't interact with you if you're not even there.
That's right, yeah.
Is there a phone somewhere I can call somebody?
It's automated. You stand here.
I don't know. Blows my mind. But when you're at an expo like this, you have to be different.
Right.
If you just pop your tent up, and you just sit in the back of the tent that's dark because there's no lights in it because you didn't think ahead.
Right.
You're not inviting at all. When you're in an indoor space like this, don't even bring your pop-up tent. Do the table with the logo on it. You can buy a big backdrop. One of these things is like $100.
Right.
Put that up, with your logos and stuff. So now you've got the light coming in. It looks way more open. There's nothing dividing me from you that makes it standoffish. The rugs, seating, nice seating, stuff like that. If you're like an IV place or whatever, you're trying to get the people to come in, make it look inviting. What does your store, your brick and mortar look like?
Yeah.
Make it look as close to that. Like the Carbon people last year, they brought lights from the Carbon gym.
Right.
There is no other better calling card than they have a specific lighting that they use at the gym, and they brought that lighting to the event.
Right.
Smart.
I liked that one. I liked Ruck's setup. I think his was very in your face, right as soon as you hit the front door. I know Barbells is always great. You guys always do a good job of presenting. It's always the tallest booth in the joint.
Yeah.
Klon did a good job. Hers was very...
She had a great booth.
Her booth was great.
Actually, I told her that the other day. I was talking to her.
Yeah, that was a great booth. I think it was Blackout Barbell where you opened his up.
Yeah.
So there was an aisle to walk through it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was brilliant.
Yeah. So he's like, how can I buy it? And I explained the idea, and he's like, oh, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. And it made it feel like a destination. Like, oh, I got to walk through here.
Yeah. Well, like a great, when you talk about engagement, your Banff Hammer guy.
Yeah.
Perfect. He gets it.
It's a great point.
He gets it. You walk up, there's no table separating you. His booth is completely open.
Right.
Right? His signage is there. He's got the mat, and there's hammers.
Right.
You know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the man sells as soon as you walk up.
Yeah.
Not that he's not going to tell you.
Right.
Right.
He's going to hit
he is in your face.
He's going to hit the ground with that sucker.
Here, let me show you how it works. Let me put it in your hand.
Right.
It's like test driving a car, right? You want to, how does this thing work before I even consider making the purchase?
Yeah.
That interaction and engagement, even if they don't purchase that day, they probably followed him just because, hey, this guy's interesting. I like what he's got going on.
Yeah.
Or they jumped on his email list or whatever. They engaged with him in some way so he's going to get that sell whenever they're in that market. That's the best thing. You'll see some booths that they walk in and we give them the pipe and drape table and chair. And they literally just use that.
Yep.
Get rid of the table.
Right.
If you need a table to put product on, put it in the back of the booth so they have to walk in. Engage with those people.
Right.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
If I can figure it out, for God's sakes.
I just think about Sean with Banff. Like, he was so excited to be literally right across from Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
And he was doing demos the entire time, and he was just beating the snot out of the concrete, making a bunch of racket.
Yeah.
And people would finish Brian and come right over to his booth.
Yeah.
Every time. And he's, I mean, that's the,
He
listen to
got
me, I'm right here.
he got the most. Here's what's funny. Okay, I'm gonna go on a rant. I feel it coming. Same people, right?
Yeah.
That, and we didn't have it last year, but we had it before with the line, right? Line in front of your booth.
Right.
And people are like, man, just people stand in front of my booth. Yeah. Potential customers.
Yeah.
And it's that victim mentality of, well, gosh, I can't, people can't get to my booth because people are standing in front of it. Do you hear what you just said? People can't, because there's people standing in front of it. That's the good problem to have.
Yeah.
He made the most of the situation with that crowd. Everybody that went through Brian's line saw him.
Right.
Because nobody got within earshot of him. He wasn't beating the shit out of that
That's right.
floor with the hammer.
That's right.
And people were interested. Hey, I want to go try that. It
Yeah.
looks fun, you
Yeah.
know? So it's all about flipping that switch of going, all right, well, let me figure out how to engage with these people while they are standing in front of me for whatever reason. If they are trying to get to the next booth that, they've already, this other booth is doing a way better job of engaging and that they're creating a line, right?
Sure.
So how do I do the same?
Yeah, I remember talking to a supplement brand, and they had a pretty big booth, and then maybe six or eight people behind that booth, and they were just standing there. I'm like, hey, you've got a line over here at Brian Shaw, you got a line over here at Jay Cutler. Take your samples and go to the line,
Yeah.
and just feed the line your samples. Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just thinking outside the box. Like if they're not coming directly to you, you're gonna have to go to them.
Yeah.
You do have to put in effort. You can't just pay the fee and show up.
So this is a funny story. I'll leave with this. We're probably close on time.
Yeah.
So there's I'm not going to call him out, but there is a nutrition company that's was local to Nashville. He's moved since. And he would go to all these events that we were going to, right? And he had like pre-workout and aminos. I think that was like two of his big things. And he ended up doing greens and protein and stuff. But I just specifically remember the aminos and the pre-workout. Aminos being probably aminos is what I used for the example. He's like, man, we're just not getting any engagement. It's just not worth going to these things. And he had a shaker cup, and he would, had like some mixed up, and he would pour it into the thing. I was like, yeah, but that's not fun.
Right.
I said, go rent a slushy machine. Take it to the next outdoor event. Put your aminos, the red one in this one, the blue one in this
Nice
side.
and bright.
Now people want to come over and get a slushy. I said, instead of giving it away, charge $5 for a cup, but they can fill it up all day.
There you go.
And you know what he did after he tested that? He went and bought a damn slushy machine.
Bet he did.
And I said, the other thing is you can buy like on Amazon, those Freezy Pop empty things, fill it up with your amino things and freeze them.
Yeah.
Sell those at events.
It's brilliant.
It's not hard.
Just got to get outside the box a little bit.
Got to think outside the box.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I'm hoping that those ideas, people are listening who want to do
steal them, please.
Yeah, steal those ideas.
Yeah.
Like, what's the old sales thing is like hack the funnel, right? Figure out why that funnel works, and then see how you can replicate it for your own brand.
Well, and too, like, me and you have both told people, when people sign up for a booth and they're like, hey, I'm not sure how to set up. Hey, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We will help you.
100%.
I'm not going to physically do it.
No, we got ideas for days.
But let's talk about your product, what you're trying to do, and how you've set it up in the past, and let's see if we can come up with a good idea.
Yep.
And a strategy for, hey, if you've not had good ways of engaging, is there a game we can do that you can do throughout the day? Most burpees or whatever, and the winner wins a gift card to wherever.
Wherever, right. Something even here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about the funnel, and I want to go there next. I'm almost through my list of things to go through. So we get through awareness, we get into engagement, presentation. Those are all big things. Now let's talk about sales, because there is a metric here. If you have 1,000 people walk by your booth and 100 people sign up for your newsletter, and then 10 of those people buy your product, your booth's paid for, right? So talk to people about having a funnel that actually works.
Well, you're saying that for like day of.
Yeah.
So my favorite part is day after,
Yeah.
right? So I got the 100 people, but only 10 people bought that day.
Right.
So it gives me 90 people that signed up for my email list, which I can send a 50% off coupon to the next day, 25%, whatever. Hey, thanks for coming by the booth at the expo. Our way of saying thanks for signing up on our newsletter at the expo. Here's a 25% off coupon for anything on the store. Here's a 50% off coupon for whatever.
Yeah.
It's a special, that makes them special for being a part of. And if they purchase now, and depending on, this is going deep in the weeds with, using mail services, but, your engaged audiences are more likely to open the emails, right?
Right.
And if they purchase, that puts them in the engaged bucket. So that means when you email them to them next week with a new product launch, they're going to see it. They're also going to remember that they met you at the expo,
Right.
and that you sent them a coupon for 25% off. So it all trickles together. Works in the funnel.
So yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, so if you're just there and all you do is walk away with an email list,
You won.
you won.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you won. So long as you are operating a business like everybody should, foundationally, and you have a newsletter, you have a funnel, right? Like you're putting these people through that funnel, however that looks. So remember that have that stuff in order before you get there. The last thing I want to talk about, and we'll end with this, is the family reunion aspect of the expo.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I think, I would say that's probably 60% of my favorite thing about it.
I would agree.
It is where you go to see all of your homies that you can't talk to all year long because everybody's super busy, right? So let's talk about the networking element of that. Do you have any stories you've been going to expos because of Barbell Voodoo for years, but what stories of friendships do you have, maybe even, or business mergers, or where you've gotten into business? Like there's tons of stories here. Like give me one.
Tons and tons of stories. In the CrossFit world, getting with Talking Elite Fitness, who is like a podcast. Met them at the CrossFit Games one year. No more than just, hey, how's it going? Tommy Marquez, can I get a photo with you? And it evolved from there. The Make Wads Great Again meme guy. And then he's become a friend where, we'll go back and forth. Probably the most recent is, and this is going off just that genre of fitness. When we did the expo the very first year, I forget, Cloudy, was that 22 or 23? 22. 22. So we did the first one in 22. I had met these guys prior to that in the CrossFit world at an event. I think it was at the Games or Regionals. No, Regionals was done. It was the Games. They had a podcast sent them a message on Facebook. Hey, can I come on the podcast? I own Barbell Voodoo. I want to talk about this expo we put on. Hey, we're actually going to be in Nashville doing another podcast. We'll be glad to fit you in. Fit me in. I did that podcast. I got referral business from other gyms because we talked about
That's awesome.
Printing tees.
Yeah.
The following year we did the expo again, but didn't talk to them. Didn't even think about it. The following year they hit me up. Hey, what you got going on? We're in Nashville. Want to see if you want to hang out. Actually, can I do a podcast? Because I've got this event coming up again. Absolutely. Meet us down at Proven. This is right when Proven had just opened. Went in Proven, filmed the podcast. When we got done with the podcast, we start talking about their pain points with fulfillment. Now I do all their fulfillment.
That's crazy.
For them. And then they feed me is a terrible word. They refer me to all their gyms who are having similar pain points buying shirts.
That's amazing.
So all that business is coming through us, and that's just relationship.
Right.
So then when you go to the expos, when we go to our expo, like the Banff Hammer guy had no clue who he was.
Right.
A great relationship is Surplus Strength.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never met Jason until we did the very first expo, and he's a huge partner of ours, and he does big things with us. And that's just through the expo. And I do business with him outside of that because of putting on the expo.
That's right.
And there's just countless stories, countless stories. I didn't know Ruck that well before the expo.
Sean from Banff is another good story. He
Yeah.
came up, and because of his relationship, was it Right Equipment?
Yeah. Yep.
He was able to find a manufacturer for his
Oh,
hammer.
there you go. Yeah. So because I met Sean,
Right.
started following him on Instagram.
Yep.
He was telling me, or he wouldn't tell me anything. He was posting about what was going on. I said,
what was going on,
hey,
yeah.
let me hook you up with Chris.
Right.
And see if there's anything they can do to help you out. And they now produce all of his hammers.
That's
and
exactly right.
They fixed it where he can actually have a business.
Right.
I mean,
That to me is mind blowing. That
Yeah,
story, right?
but
It saved a business.
but it's all those connections
Right.
of just networking with these different people. The Gone Nuts lady that does the like almond nut butter and stuff that does our expo every year. And I see her at other events. I met her. Well, let me take that back. She bought the business, but I had met the owners of that business at the CrossFit Games years and years and years ago. I hit them up to be at the expo, which was Michelle, because she had bought it. We had talked a couple of times. Then I ran into her at that Christmas
Oh yeah.
thing. We sit and talked and caught up, and I was like, hey, we're putting on this expo, this fitness expo. Would love to have you out. Absolutely. Email me. Here's my email.
That's
And
awesome.
she got a booth, and then she comes every year.
Every year. Yeah.
But it's all those little connective tissues of meeting this person, and you may not do business with this person, but he connects you to
Right.
this person over here that helps you fill, a need or a pain point, or just gives you advice.
That is the epicenter of what we're trying to create.
Yep.
Right. It is great to have an expo that's growing. It's a positive economic impact on the city that is helping, Nashville become a healthier place. The best part is the relationship part, where collaboration trumps competition. Everybody's trying to figure out how to work with one another. They're excited to see one another again, no matter what industry they're in, even if they're in competing industries that like to talk shop. That all happens under one roof.
Yeah.
And that is the exact thing that we're trying to create here. So if you're watching this and you're wondering about getting involved in the expo, you could totally do that. Links on the bottom of this video. We'd love to have you out there. We'd love to get to know you. Maybe you're going to end up with a story just like this. Maybe you're going to end up sitting on this podcast telling that story, similar to what Ruck just did on the the last episode. So we're excited to meet you. We're excited to see you at the expo. We do love talking about it because on a lot of levels, it feels like our lives have led us up to this point.
Sure. that is true.
Like completely prepared us for this.
Well, that's how we ended up with the expo. Was
That's
we
right.
met at this expo
Yep.
before we had anything
any
to do with
ownership
it.
of it
Yeah.
all. So yeah, that
I was like, who's the crazy guy doing pull-ups over there?
your new business partner.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I've enjoyed reminiscing and going back over this stuff with you. Is there anything you want to leave with anybody?
No, just look forward to having everybody out to the Music City Fit Expo, May 30th and 31st, Nashville Fairgrounds. You can get, if you want tickets are on sale right now at musiccityfitexpo.com. If you want to grab a booth, go to musiccityfitexpo.com and go under
Reserve your booth.
reserve your booth.
Yep.
And right from there, you can get your booth all reserved. You can actually even pick your spot this year. And if you have any questions beyond that, our email's right there, info@musiccityfitexpo.com. We're happy to answer any questions you got. If you want to jump on a call, we'll do that as well.
Yep. Got to come check it out. Come see what all the fuss is about. Guys, we are excited for you to be there. Thanks for tuning into this podcast. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We need all that support. It's super helpful for us. And share this with anybody that you think might be able to benefit. So we will see you guys on the next one.
Have a good one.